Hello, beesies.
Well, hey everybody, I'm here with my friend Randy. We're at the in-laws place where my bees are today, and Randy's looking to get into bees. So we've been friends for a long time, raised kids together, and kids played sports together and did a lot of stuff. So I'll let Randy introduce himself a little bit, and then we'll get going.
All right. Well, my name is Randy Brohart. Just live in the neighborhood here, not too far from where Scott's hives are. And I guess one of the comments that I'll make is being somebody that's trying to get into the beekeeping space, it's super great to have a mentor, somebody that I think can show me some of the ropes. And so very much appreciate the opportunity to be with Scott here today.
Well, that's a lot of pressure. I'll tell him everything I know. It'll take 3.5 minutes, and then no, we'll have a good time today. So we're going to break up in the colony. In this part of the state, it's we've had some unusually warm weather. I'd say it's unusually warm.
Yeah.
And already seeing swarms reported through some social media. Flowers are blooming. We got a lot of dandelions. My father-in-law leaves them, I guess, so that's cool with me. And yeah, so we just want to see, primarily what we're going to look at today is first off to get Randy into the bees, and then we're going to be looking for imminent signs of swarming, and we'll go through those if we see them. If we don't see them, I'll make sure that you know what to look for. So let's get started. Okay, so we're out at the colony now. We've already given it a puff of smoke. I undid the ratchet strap, and we're going to crack into it. So Randy, we'll go ahead and lift this lid. This outer lid just pops up. You might need to maybe hit it with the hive tool.
Okay. Do I just pry?
Yep. Yep, that's a good way. Perfect. Yep, so that crack you heard, hopefully it came through the microphone, that's the propolis. And that's this dark resinous material. And the bees actually gather that as well as honey and nectar, or nectar and pollen. And they use that as, like we would use caulk if we had a leaky window. So then this is your inner cover, and yep, just get you a spot under there, and you'll crack up open here. Yep, and it's all right to use the hive tool again. Perfect. And then I always just get in the habit of looking underneath that hive cover. A couple things we can see here. This is a hive beetle. I'll show you. Oh, nope, it ran, it jumped. And I just smash them when I see them. They're a secondary pest, and they won't, if a strong colony, they can manage them. If it's a weak colony, they can't overrun it. So anytime I see them, I smash them. And then I also look for the queen, only because I found the queen on the inner cover one time, and so that told me that there's a chance. And then that you can just lean up against the hive, stand anywhere that makes you happy, kind of out of your walking path. All right, now I start my inspection by looking down the seams, and you can see that there's quite a few bees in here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It makes me happy.
Yeah.
So the last time I was in here was, I don't know, 10 days ago, well, 2 weeks, something like that. And I broke them down back into this configuration. I had extra stuff on there for the winter and other stuff, but if it's coming across on the camera, you see some lighter colored wax, that indicates new wax, so they're working it. So a couple things you can do. You won't be wrong to start your inspection here. This way this hive's configured, we can be pretty confident that the queen is likely not up here. But because we're doing this as a learning opportunity as well, let's go ahead and I always start from the outside. So you take your tool and yep, pry that up.
This is probably where your hook comes in.
Yep. Yeah, so that's where I like my hook, but I went a lot of years before I learned to get the hook. And so there we go. We're just looking here to see. I've always got eyes for the queen, and this being a nectar frame, it's heavy nectar here. Not likely that she'll be here. Not impossible. But yeah, so I'm looking in there. You can see it's just laid up pretty heavy with nectar, and then I'll just flip it over in the same space. We've got some nectar and some pollen. Yeah. So then this is burr comb. Nothing wrong with it. It's no different, say, than a stair or a ramp in your house. It's just how they're getting back and forth from one to another. So they'll be storing this away and dehydrating it and turning it into honey. Eventually, when it's ready, they'll cap it and be good to go. So for that one, I'll take this over here. Ooh, that's got some nice heft.
Yeah, it's heavy.
It's got some heft. So
are we going to do the next one here now?
Yep. So go ahead. Now it will become easier. Or should become easier. The same thing here. Always have an eye for the queen, but probably not likely she's in here on this
Fella
one.
down here working.
Oh, that's a.
Yeah, he's
Oh
working.
yeah, she's
Yeah,
working.
he's
Okay.
Busy.
And so this burr comb out. Sometimes I'll remove it. Sometimes I'll leave it. If it's not in my way, I try to leave it because they have it there for a reason. And then once you've seen what you need to see off of that one, then I'll kind of put that one back to where you had the first one.
Yep.
And just go through just like pages of a book. One thing I'd try to do is I wrote 18 on here, so that's when that frame was put into service.
Okay.
We in 2023, so that frame should probably be thinking about replacing it, the wax anyway. The frame can be reused, but they recommend replacing wax on a 5-year cycle. I'm not very good at it. Okay, so now here's something to see. This is nectar, and if you want to tilt the frame maybe a little bit towards the camera, these are drone brood cells. So drones are the male bees. They're created by the queen laying an unfertilized egg. How I can tell they're drone brood is if you see how they're sticking out proud of the, lower this down just a little bit. They're sticking out proud of the cells because drones are physically larger and they're laid in a worker cell. So in this case, the hive wanted drones, and there was not necessarily any drone comb available, so they made it work. And look at the other side, look like more of the same. So quite a bit of drone brood, not cause for alarm in itself. This is the time of year when colonies are producing drones. Yep, I think we're good on that. And the reason why they're producing drones is they're getting ready to swarm. So swarming is to beehives what cell division is to a single cell organism. So when you think about a beehive or a bee colony, think about it less as thousands of bees and more of it as being one organism. So here we're back to some more good nectar, which is good because that means they have food. It takes a lot of food to raise young. And this is what I was talking about. See that new lightly colored wax? This frame, they've been working on making it deeper. This had 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, this was a 9 frame configuration. So they will draw it out wider because they've got the room to do that. All right. Busy as a bee.
And marching through down at the bottom of the cone down there, it goes clear through.
Yeah, that's one advantage to wax foundation over plastic is that if they want a hallway there, they can make one.
You can see one here's got some pollen like a pouch on its leg up here at the top. Up closer to me, yeah.
Yeah, so always curious. They have charts you can reference. Oh, I see.
Yeah, right there. Yep, you got it.
And they have charts that you can reference for what type of pollen is being gathered, but I'm just happy when they're gathering it. So pollen is the protein, and nectar and then honey is the carbohydrate. So far they've been really calm, which is nice. It's indicative that the colony's not under any kind of stress, that they've got food, they've got room, they've got young, they've got a viable queen.
This is heavy.
Yeah, that nectar's really coming in. I'd like to know, wish I knew what they were using as a nectar source, because they are doing it. Yeah, see this burr here is no harm in it, but it can get in your way a little bit. There's some burr down there, that's why it's not laying good. So this is nice, because
Yes,
then
that is.
so what I usually
I can
do
see
is
the advantage
yeah.
to that.
So that just makes it easier.
Yep.
Some drone there. Okay. All right. So on the other side, there's something that this is what we're looking for. So if you see this here, that's very likely a queen cell. You hear them described as a peanut shape, peanut size. That's an indication that, first off, you have a healthy colony. But second off, this time of year, that's what they do in preparation to swarm. So if you see it described as a swarm cell, it's typically going to be on the bottom of your frame. So that's fine. Not a reason to get uptight. What we'll do is we'll come back, and when I'm prepared to do it, I don't have my equipment with me today, we'll take this queen, some bees, some frames, and take them away. And that's them having an artificial swarm. And then I'm not opposed to letting them live like this and having their chances on a
You can actually see right down in there the larva. Can you see down in that?
Yep. So this would be more like a drone.
Yeah.
This would be more of a queen. And speaking of drone, here's one. This is your drone. You see those big gooby eyes as it's walking about the place. Very easy to confuse a drone for a queen. Something to think about. Yeah, so we can.
Let me put these back in.
Yep. And so when we talk about swarm, when you see a capped queen cell, it's possible you've already swarmed, but due to the volume of bees in this box, I'm confident to say that they haven't swarmed yet. With the weather coming in the forecast, I think we have a few days to act. They're calling for some potential storms and wet weather for a few days, and then cold. And that's going to be, I think, once it comes warm after that cold snap that's coming, cold snap anyway, we're going to see a lot of swarms, because they're going to be crowded in the house. It's just like when, say during the holidays, you got family coming over, everybody's in the house at one time, it shrinks your house. Same thing, when they can't get out and fly, it's going to give them the feeling of a more crowded house than they have. So if I was here by myself, just doing this inspection, what I would do then is I'd put this box back together, and then I would come down to some of the lower boxes and see what the condition is in there. Is that something that you want to do?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is these are space 9, and we'll see if we can get them back. I did bring my 9 frame tools,
Okay.
but you can get a pretty good look at it by where they were prior to manipulation. Oh, that's sticky. That's that propolis they put in between the frames there. And see, this is where, for me, I prefer gloves.
Yeah.
These bees are being very, very good. I did speak to them briefly.
Yeah.
Ask them to be nice to you if you want to smoke this steam down. But yeah, they're being pretty calm. But at the same time, they can go from calm to hairy pretty quick. And I'd rather be protected than vulnerable if that flip of the switch happens. Let's see what you can drop this one back in.
Got it.
Perfect. Need some room?
Yeah, give me a little room there. I don't want to scrape all these bees off this side.
Yep, we can, I think I'm proud over here, and then you can come back and give you some more room overall. So if I would have thought about it, another thing I would have done is I would have put a queen excluder underneath this yellow box. Only to kind of keep it pure honey if I wanted to take that. One thing that I'll do you have the outer lid? Yep. Yeah. So one thing I like to do is take your outer cover and say put it over here, flip it upside down, and then that gives you a place to land this box.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you want me to move it over there?
Well, you can just put it over here, over down there, and then we'll pop this box off, and that will give us
this or this?
the outer.
The outer. Gotcha.
No, that's fine. It just keeps it a little bit, gets some of that debris out of there.
Right there?
Yep. And then this box, I'll typically turn it 90 degrees so that it sits across the top part. You're probably going to need a tool to crack the corners. I suppose a good friend would help you pick it. Oh, it's got some weight. You want to take a heft of that, and
Got it.
That's a heavy box. Goodness. Give these a little bit more smoke. And sometimes you see, they get squished, and that's too bad. Yeah, for sure.
It's got the hook on
I
it.
don't mind at all. Yeah, so this one, is this 10? So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, this is 10 into 10. So you can see they're a little bit tighter packed as far as that goes. Nothing right or wrong with it, just that this box was not intended to make honey. I do try to color code my boxes. Brown or white are more of the brood colony. Yellow typically is going to be your honey box. I don't always follow my own rules, but that's where I start. So yeah, we can start with this one again. Probably won't be a whole lot to see on the edges, but I always start with the edges. Yeah, that one might come in that way. You'll feel a weight difference in that one, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they're starting to fill it, which is a good sign too, because usually the outside edges, especially in a 10 frame, are going to be some of the last ones that they'll work. Tells me that they have enough bees that they're using all of their space, and also another indication I should probably sooner than later make plans to either I could give them more room, or I could take the queen away by removing some of the population. It's going to depend a lot on what we see in these frames, as I need to see some worker brood, which will be female brood.
It's going to work the way across then.
Yep, same as the top box. Yeah, Yeah, I've seen some people modify these J hooks by they'll file that down a little bit so they're easier to squeeze between the two, but so yeah, same thing here. We get this newer wax. It's a lot lighter. Get another healthy indication that they're building up. This is also a time if you can get raw frames into a box, it's a very good time to get some frames drawn out. So sometimes what I'll do when I get one space open is then I'll take that sharp end and I'll part them, and then I'll use the J hook.
Oh.
Yeah. There's no right way or wrong way. Look at those pollen pants.
Oh yeah.
All right. Starting to get cantankerous.
Yeah, they're starting to flare up there a bit, right?
Yeah. So this is pollen that you can see. It's kind of that packed in looking. It's a good indication. If they're storing it, that means they've got a surplus. Again, it takes a lot of pollen to feed the next round, which hopefully we start seeing some of the next round. Be a shame to make it this far and then not come any further with this colony. Do you see? Can you turn that way? Okay. Nope. I can't tell. If there's eggs in here, that's where they would be. Okay, I do see them a little bit. It's going to be hard to see on camera and probably hard to see in real life. But if you look, you'll see some wet commas or wet circles, very small in here. That's indication of those are brood. Do you see them at all? Sometimes you got.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to kind of turn it. There's no light. We clouded up here. We had, all day long while I wasn't in a beehive, it was bright and beautiful. But that's a good sign that they've got a healthy population coming in. And this is pollen again on this side.
Oop, there's another
That's
one
okay.
here.
There's some more swarm cells, yeah.
Yep.
That's all right. I'm not, I don't typically knock swarm cells down, and I have had colonies swarm, so I'm not saying I'm doing it right. But my thought is, if you can capture half of the queens that they lay up in swarm cells, and half of those queens come back to you, you've increased your colonies number. And I'd love to get to the point where I've got, half a dozen or more colonies to make it less critical that the one colony I have going into winter comes out of winter. I don't like paying for bees if I can help it. And, I've certainly done my share.
Oop, look at that one.
Yeah,
Oh,
so that's
that-
just per.
Yeah, it
Yep.
is. Yep.
Yep.
You can see the pollen down there.
Oh, that's a lot of pollen. As I was driving down the driveway to come here, I heard the pollen report, and it said elm, maple, and I can't remember the other one. These fruit trees behind us are getting ready. I think they're apples. Get these bees, they're bumping the microphone. I am curious to hear what that sounds like on the recording. Probably, if you don't like bees, you're probably not listening to my YouTube channel anyway. Okay, so you see here, See how these cells are a little bit larger? Let me smoke off this. Maybe the camera can see.
Oh, I see. You can see the larva right in there.
Yeah,
right?
so those cells are a little bit larger in diameter. Unless my eyes are playing tricks on me, those are actually drone cells. And there's another queen cell.
Mm-hmm.
Swarm cell. So
What is that, 4?
at least. So yeah, so I've got work to do. There's drone brood over here.
You want this last one out?
Let me take it or leave it. I guess we're in for a dime, in for a dollar. Let's pull it.
All right. Look at that one's got like a red pollen on it. See?
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh, it's bright red.
Yeah.
That's pretty. I don't know. I know you like nature and you're outside a lot anyway. But one of the things that I found when I started keeping bees was I started being into flowers and trees a lot more. A lot more than I would have been just as a regular person. So here,
Yeah.
yep, we'll just squeeze them back in tight as we can and do our best.
Need a tool or anything?
Not yet. I'm gonna do a few things here. We'll scrape this burr off before we close it up, and then I need to squeeze them together. Oh, go ahead. You can move those ones over. We should be able to pop this one back in now.
Oh yeah.
Perfect. And then what I'll do, this burr comb here, just as simple as, these things are sharp, they will absolutely cut your fingers. And if there's any live bees on there, I try to give them a chance to get off, and then I keep that, and it accumulates. And then when I melt wax after I harvest honey or something, it just goes into the melted wax. I am try to be aware of not cutting my fingers. Cool. All right, so then we'll pop this top medium off, and we just put it on top of that one there.
All right.
So I'm gonna bring the camera in a little bit closer. These are drones that were laid on top of in that burr comb. So they're forfeit, unfortunately. They won't be viable after this all goes down. So nothing there, but a bit of carnage.
Go ahead and peel these out.
Yep. So these ones I'm curious because I put this black one in last time I was in here, and it was pretty bare. It's certainly gotten busier.
Activity there, huh?
Yeah, so they're building and drawing, and this part here, there was basically a triangle. Everything else is new that they've been building since I left them. And so that one, you probably leave that one in there.
Okay.
And we'll start from the next one. So these are the plastics, all plastics, obviously. I've come to find that I prefer wood frame plastic foundation. That's selfish reasons, because it's easier for me. I do like the plastic, all plastics, for the most part. White's hard for me to see what I think I need to see. after they get used for a while, though, they get easier to see things in because when they're pure white and brand new.
There's a drone in the middle.
Yep. Yep.
Huh?
That's a drone. There's a couple. There's one here.
Yep, I see him.
Yep. So drones, they take the longest to make, I believe. 16 for a queen, 18 for a worker, and 21 for a drone, I think. And then they have to sexually mature in the colony, and then they'll fly on suitable days. And this queen, unless she's already shucked us and we just didn't see her, she's a dark with a little bit of black striping. I don't see her. Nice looking queen. Oh, that's what we wanted. All right, so this is worker brood. You see how flat it is, very uniform. That makes me happy. I was getting a little bit nervous there, honestly, because we just weren't seeing any. That last box we had that one frame that was likely contained worker brood. But yeah, you want to see a good laid up slab like that, and what you'll see is this is stages of development. So you'll see these are capped, and they're capped at whatever day they're capped at. Then you see the larva, and then you see smaller larvae, and then you see eggs, is what you should see if the bees read the same books that I read. So yeah, let's look on the other side and see if Miss Ma'am is there. Yep, right there.
Oh, yep.
So that's a good looking queen, Ohio queen. I'd say I raised her, but the bees really did. So yeah. So now when I put this frame back in, what I typically do, once I see what I need to see,
Yep.
I'm done.
Good.
So for her, you can keep an eye on her and then just put her in and just very gently press the frames together. You know, you squash bees on every inspection. That's just part of it. But that's the one bee you don't want to squash if you can help it. Sticky. All right, and then as far as that goes, I would just push these back and start putting it back together. Could you go through the rest of your frames? Sure, but my thought process is you've seen what you need to see. And then
The next one goes in there. You go ahead.
Okay. And so now we're any future work inside that colony is just kind of getting in their way. Yep. And so then putting it back together, I'm just going to leave that burr there. But I just start putting them back together in the same reverse order. And we'll be good. See, this is for me. This is when it gets a little bit unnerving. And I've been doing this since 17. And when I get bees flying around like this, I ain't kidding. I get a little nervous. And the boxes aren't perfectly the same size. Whoever built these tried really hard. All right, and then we take the inner cover, and I like to put that notch that you'll see here. I like to put that down. I don't know that I've ever seen one use it necessarily. And I grab the top cover. Oh, good bump in this microphone. There it is. So, all right, we can we'll go ahead and put it together, and I think maybe we'll do it quick just to wrap up on the tailgate.
All right. Splendid.
Okay, so we got through the colony. We found some good signs. We found some things that are going to prompt action. I'm going to try an artificial swarm with this colony where I take the queen and a certain number of bees and take them away. And in my case, I'm fortunate that by distance, it's like 5 miles, I think, from here to my in-laws, or to my house. So what I'll end up doing is I'll come over here with the equipment to do it. I'll take the queen and some bees, make them think that they've swarmed, and have them start a new life over back at my house. So today was more about getting Randy into the bees. And what'd you think?
It was awesome. It was good. I really appreciated the opportunity. There's nothing like the hands-on experience, so thank you.
Well, hey, it was.
I appreciate it, man.
Always happy to help anybody, and especially a friend. And so yeah, we'll keep in touch this summer as your bee journey begins and mine continues, and I think we'll learn from each other.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, and we hope you found that useful.